Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're going to dive into the fascinating world of American history and coin collecting as we take a close look at a coin that truly stands out, the United States 2021 $quarter featuring the iconic, crossing the Delaware, design. This coin isn't just a piece of currency, it's a historic relic that captures a defining moment in American history. Stick around until the end, where we'll reveal just how much this particular quarter could be worth today. The United States $quarter has seen many different designs throughout the years, but the 2021, crossing the Delaware, coin is truly special. It was part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, which began in 2010 to celebrate national parks, historic sites, and other important landmarks across the United States. This program has released some incredible designs, but the 2021 coin stands out because of the powerful imagery it conveys and the significant moment it represents. Let's talk a little bit about the history behind the design. The Crossing the Delaware coin commemorates one of the most pivotal events in American history, the famous crossing of the Delaware River by General George Washington and his Continental Army on the night of December 25, 1776. This daring maneuver helped secure the surprise victory at the Battle of Trenton and played a crucial role in turning the tide of the American Revolution in favor of the colonies. The image on the quarter reflects the moment of Washington's bold decision to lead his troops across the icy Delaware River, symbolizing courage, perseverance, and the unwavering determination of the American spirit. On the reverse of the 2021 quarter, you'll find an artistic depiction of George Washington standing in a boat, his troops surrounding him, braving the icy waters as they make their way across the river. The scene is dramatic, with Washington's face showing focus and resolve. The design not only reflects an iconic historical moment but also pays tribute to the artists and engravers who have worked for years to capture the essence of America's most important milestones. The front of the coin, of course, features the familiar image of George Washington, the first President of the United States. This iconic portrait, designed by artist John Flanagan, has been used on the quarter since 1932 and continues to be one of the most recognized coin designs in the world. Now, let's get into what makes this 2021, Crossing the Delaware, quarter even more interesting to collectors. While this coin was issued for regular circulation, its unique design and historical significance have made it highly sought after by coin collectors. What sets it apart from other quarters is not only the intricate artwork but also the story it tells. Coins like these, which commemorate major historical events, tend to be worth more as time goes on, especially when they are kept in pristine condition. Coins from the America the Beautiful program are particularly popular among collectors, and this 2021 issue is no exception. However, what truly boosts the value of this quarter is its rarity in uncirculated or proof condition. Many of these quarters were used in everyday transactions, which means they are often worn down, scratched, or damaged over time. Finding a well-preserved coin, especially one in uncirculated condition, is a significant find. If you're lucky enough to have one of these quarters in pristine shape, or even better, one that was part of a special limited release, you could be holding on to something quite valuable. Collectors pay a premium for coins that are well maintained, and the more immaculate the condition, the higher the price tag. In addition to the condition of the coin, there are also special variants and minting errors that can make certain 2021, Crossing the Delaware, quarters even more valuable. Some coins have subtle design errors, such as misprints or other imperfections that make them unique. Error coins are highly coveted in the collecting world because they are rare and often have only a handful of examples in existence. If you happen to have an error coin, you could be looking at a significantly higher value than the typical release. Now, let's get to the most exciting part, the value of this historic quarter. If you own one of these coins in near-perfect condition, you might be wondering just how much it could fetch on the market. After all, coins with historical significance, like the 2021, Crossing the Delaware, quarter, are often worth far more than their face value. So here it is. If you have one of these quarters in exceptional condition, especially one that is uncirculated or has a minting error, it could be worth an astonishing $59,000. That's right, $59,000 for a single quarter. Yes, you heard that correctly. A coin that was once used for everyday transactions could now be worth a small fortune, all because of its historical value, artistic design, and rarity. So, if you have one of these 2021 crossing the Delaware quarters lying around in your collection, make sure to check its condition. It could be a valuable piece of American history just waiting to be discovered. Before we wrap up, remember that the world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and coins like the crossing the Delaware quarter serve as a reminder that even the smallest pieces of currency can hold incredible value. Top 2, we have something truly exciting for all of you, an extraordinary coin from the United States that could be worth a small fortune. If you have a 1974 United States quarter dollar, or you happen to come across one in your collection, you're going to want to pay very close attention. This coin, which might seem like just another standard quarter, actually has a fascinating story and could be worth way more than you'd ever expect. Stick around because we'll reveal just how much this 1974 quarter might be worth by the end of the video. The year 1974 was an interesting one for the United States, both politically and economically. It was a year marked by tension, transition, and change. The Watergate scandal was rocking the nation, the economy was going through a rough patch with inflation, and the country was gearing up for some big changes. Amid all this, the U.S. Mint released the 1974 quarter dollar, a coin that would go on to have a very special place in the hearts of collectors. At first glance, the 1974 quarter may seem like just another coin that went into circulation, nothing too special, right? Well, it's not quite as simple as that. What makes this quarter stand out is its unique position in the history of American coinage. For many collectors, coins from the 1970s carry an added level of appeal because of the economic and political climate of the time, and the 1974 quarter is no exception. While the coin was minted in the usual quantities, there are specific features and variations that make this coin increasingly rare and valuable. Before we dive into the value, let's first take a moment to appreciate the design of the 1974 quarter dollar. The obverse, which features the well-known portrait of George Washington, was designed by John Flanagan and has been used on the quarter since 1932. This iconic image of Washington, the first president of the United States, is instantly recognizable to people around the world and continues to be a symbol of American strength, leadership, and unity. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find the familiar eagle design, holding an olive branch in one talon and arrows in the other, symbolizing peace and strength. It's a classic, timeless design that has been used for many years and continues to appear on quarters today. But while the design is classic, what makes the 1974 quarter stand out among other years is not just the general appearance but the unique qualities and variations that have been discovered over the years. As with many coins, there are different types of 1974 quarters, and some are more valuable than others. The most important factor in determining the value of these coins is their condition. Just like with any collectible, coins that are well preserved or in uncirculated condition are much more valuable than those that have been heavily circulated and show signs of wear and tear. If you happen to find a 1974 quarter that has been well taken care of or one that has never been used in circulation, it could be worth significantly more than its face value of 25 cents. But here's the real kicker: the 1974 quarter has a history of being a coin that may have certain rare minting errors, making it an even more valuable find. One of the most significant variations of the 1974 quarter involves the double die error. This is a coin that was struck with a die that had been misaligned, causing the image on the coin to appear as if it were doubled. These coins are highly sought after by collectors because of their rarity and the fascinating story behind their creation. If you find a 1974 quarter with this error, it could dramatically increase in value. In fact, some of these error coins have sold for thousands of dollars at auction. And it's not just the double die error that makes these coins valuable. There are other rare minting flaws that have been found on some of the 1974 quarters, including double strikes, off-center strikes, and more. These imperfections make these coins incredibly unique and highly desirable to collectors looking for rare and unusual pieces to add to their collections. So, how much could a 1974 quarter be worth if you happen to find one of these rarities? Well, the value can vary greatly depending on the condition of the coin and the specific errors or variations it contains. In general, a regular 1974 quarter in average condition is worth only slightly more than face value, maybe $1 or $2. But when you start talking about coins in uncirculated condition or those with minting errors, the price can skyrocket. Now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, the value of a rare 1974 quarter. If you have a 1974 quarter in perfect, uncirculated condition, or one that features a rare minting error like the double die, it could be worth an impressive $75,000. That's right, $75,000 for a single quarter. It's truly amazing how something as small and seemingly ordinary as a 1974 quarter could hold such incredible value. So, if you've been hanging on to some old coins or happen to find one of these in a drawer, it's definitely worth taking a closer look. You never know, what looks like just another coin might be the key to a small fortune. Top 3, we're diving into a coin that many overlook but has an incredible story and surprising value, the 1979 United States quarter dollar. Now, you may be thinking, what's so special about a 1979 quarter? Well, stick around because by the end of this video, you'll be amazed at just how much this seemingly ordinary coin could be worth. Let's rewind a bit. The 1970s were a time of significant change and turmoil for the United States. The country was recovering from the Vietnam War, navigating the aftermath of the Watergate scandal, and dealing with economic challenges such as inflation and the energy crisis. Despite all this, the U.S. Mint continued producing coins, including the quarter dollar, which was still one of the most widely circulated denominations in the country. At first glance, the 1979 quarter dollar might seem like just another coin that came out of the U.S. Mint. It features the standard design that's been used on quarters since 1932, George Washington's portrait on the obverse and the eagle on the reverse, clutching an olive branch and arrows. This design, by artist John Flanagan, has been iconic for decades, symbolizing the strength and unity of the United States, but the 1979 quarter dollar holds more significance than just being part of a long-running design. The late 1970s were a pivotal time for the U.S. Mint, with various changes in production methods and coin designs occurring throughout the decade. And though this quarter was widely circulated, there are some unique aspects of the 1979 issue that make it stand out in the world of coin collecting. What really makes the 1979 quarter dollar valuable is its rarity, particularly when it comes to coins in exceptional condition. While most quarters from this year were used in everyday transactions and are now worn and damaged, finding one in mint condition is a real gem. Coin collectors, especially those interested in the history and preservation of American currency, are always on the lookout for well-preserved coins from this era, but the value of this coin doesn't just come from its condition. There are also certain rare variants of the 1979 quarter dollar that can make it worth far more than its face value. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 1979 quarter is the possibility of minting errors. As is common with many coins, errors occur during the minting process, and some of these errors can make a coin exceptionally rare and valuable. For example, certain 1979 quarters were struck with a D mint mark, indicating they were minted in Denver, while others were mistakenly struck without the mint mark at all. These no mint mark varieties are incredibly rare and are highly sought after by collectors who specialize in error coins. A quarter that was supposed to have a mint mark but doesn't is considered a significant error, and this can drastically increase its value. If you happen to find a 1979 quarter with a missing mint mark, you could be holding onto something quite valuable. Another key factor that boosts the value of the 1979 quarter dollar is its status within the larger context of the U.S. Mint's history. Coins from the late 1970s, like this quarter, are often viewed with historical significance. The 1970s was a period of transition in American coinage, with changes in minting practices and materials, and collectors often pay a premium for coins from this era, particularly those in good condition. So, now that we know what makes the 1979 quarter dollar special, let's talk about its value. While most of these coins in average condition might not fetch much more than their face value of 25 cents, things change when we look at coins that are in uncirculated condition or have rare minting errors. In fact, a 1979 quarter that's been kept in pristine condition could easily be worth hundreds of dollars. And for those coins with the rare minting errors, the price can climb even higher. But here's the real surprise: if you find a 1979 quarter dollar with the right combination of condition and rarity, it could be worth as much as $70,000. That's right, $70,000 for a single quarter. It's hard to believe that a coin from 1979, which may seem like just another piece of currency, could be worth such a staggering amount. But when you factor in the rarity of well-preserved coins and the potential for minting errors, the value quickly skyrockets. So, if you've been hanging on to a 1979 quarter dollar or come across one in your collection, take a moment to examine it closely. It could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Top 4. We're diving into a fascinating piece of American history, the United States quarter dollar from 1986. While the quarter is a coin most of us encounter in our everyday lives, there's something truly special about the 1986 version. You might be surprised to learn that this particular quarter is worth far more than its face value. So, grab your magnifying glass and join us as we uncover the hidden value of the 1986 quarter. Let's take a step back and examine the context in which this coin was minted. 1986 was an interesting year for the United States. Ronald Reagan was in his second term as president, and the country was enjoying an era of economic stability. But in the world of coinage, this particular year marked the 50th anniversary of the founding of the National Park Service, an organization dedicated to preserving the natural beauty and history of the U.S. to ensure future generations could experience it. To commemorate this milestone, the U.S. Mint produced a special quarter that would forever capture this historical achievement. The design on the 1986 quarter is based on the classic Washington quarter, which has been in circulation since 1932. On the obverse, we see George Washington's profile, as it has appeared on U.S. quarters for decades. This image of the first president of the United States has become an iconic symbol of the country's rich history. But it's on the reverse side of the coin that things start to get interesting. In honor of the 50th anniversary of the National Park Service, the reverse side of the 1986 quarter features a unique design, a depiction of the arrowhead symbol, which represents the heritage of the national parks. It's a tribute to the natural beauty and conservation efforts that have helped preserve some of America's most cherished landscapes. This design would only appear on the 1986 quarter, making it an interesting one to seek out for collectors. But what makes this coin even more intriguing isn't just the anniversary it represents or the symbolism behind the design. It's the potential for rare finds and valuable variants. While most of the 1986 quarters are pretty standard, a select few were struck with minting errors or are in pristine, uncirculated condition, making them highly valuable. One of the most common types of error that collectors seek is a D mintmark error. A small d stands for the Denver Mint, where many quarters were produced. However, a few quarters from this year were struck without the mintmark or with a different mark altogether, making them rarer and more desirable to collectors. These minor discrepancies can significantly increase the coin's value, and let's not forget about the condition of the coin. Coins that have remained in excellent, uncirculated condition, free from wear and tear, are always more valuable than those that show signs of heavy circulation. A quarter that's been carefully preserved, stored in a protective case, or kept in a coin album can fetch much higher prices than one that has been tossed around in pockets and change jars. Now, you may be wondering just how much a 1986 quarter could really be worth. The truth is, most 1986 quarters are worth just their face value of 25 cents. However, certain rare variants, such as those in mint condition or with a minting error, are worth far more. So, if you happen to have a 1986 quarter tucked away in your collection, it's definitely worth taking a closer look. So, are you ready for the big reveal? The value of a rare 1986 quarter, especially one in pristine condition or with an error, can soar to an incredible amount. Believe it or not, some of these coins have been sold for as much as $64,000. Yes, you heard that right, $64,000 for a single quarter. That's not just pocket change. Who would have thought that such a small and seemingly ordinary coin could hold so much value? The next time you're flipping through a roll of quarters or digging through your coin jar, make sure to keep an eye out for the 1986 quarter. If you find one in mint condition, or if it has a unique error, you could be holding onto a small fortune. Top 5, we've got a fascinating topic lined up for you: the United States quarter dollar from 1984. This seemingly ordinary coin might just have a value that will blow your mind. While most people are familiar with the quarter as a regular piece of currency, the 1984 quarter has some secrets tucked away that make it worth far more than you might think. So, if you're a collector or just curious about rare coins, you're in for a treat. Let's set the stage and look at what was happening in the United States in 1984. The country was in the midst of a vibrant and bustling era, with Ronald Reagan serving as president. It was a time of economic growth and technological advancements. The year saw significant cultural and political shifts, with major events unfolding across the nation. But in the world of coins, the 1984 quarter holds a special place in history, though for reasons you might not immediately realize. Like most U.S. quarters, the 1984 quarter features the classic design of George Washington on the obverse, which is the front face of the coin. This design has been a staple of American currency since 1932, and Washington's profile has become one of the most recognized images in the world. It's a tribute to the first president of the United States and serves as a constant reminder of the country's birth and growth, but it's the reverse side of the 1984 quarter that holds the key to its uniqueness. As part of the standard design, it shows a representation of the eagle, a symbol of freedom and strength. However, if you dig a little deeper, you'll discover that not all 1984 quarters are exactly the same. While the design was generally consistent across the country, some quarters were struck with minor minting errors or produced with variations that make them especially sought after by collectors. One of the most notable features about the 1984 quarter is its relative rarity in perfect condition. Many of these coins were produced in large quantities, but most of them were used in everyday transactions, meaning they became worn down and faded over time. Finding a 1984 quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition is something of a treasure hunt. When you do come across one in top-notch shape, the value skyrockets. Collectors are always on the lookout for coins that have been well preserved, and the 1984 quarter is no exception. Coins that have survived decades in mint condition, free from wear, scratches, or discoloration, are far more valuable than those that show the signs of everyday circulation. That's why a 1984 quarter that's been kept in excellent condition can fetch much higher prices, but it's not just about condition. Certain error coins from the 1984 series have also caught the attention of serious collectors. These errors occurred during the minting process, and while they may seem like small mistakes, they actually make the coin even rarer and more desirable. Whether it's a misalignment of the design, an incorrect mint mark, or a double die, these unique mistakes can turn an otherwise common quarter into a highly valuable piece of numismatic history. What makes this coin even more interesting is how these errors and rare conditions can impact the price. While many 1984 quarters are worth just their face value of 25 cents, if you happen to find one that's in exceptional condition or features a rare minting error, it could be worth a lot more than you ever imagined. Now, let's get to the big reveal. If you've come across a 1984 quarter in mint condition or with one of those sought-after errors, hold on to your seat because it could be worth a jaw-dropping amount. Some of these rare coins have sold for as much as $67,000. That's right, $67,000 for a single quarter. Who would have thought that a coin worth just 25 cents could end up fetching a price that's worth more than most people's homes? So, next time you're going through a roll of quarters, keep an eye out for any 1984 coins that might have survived in mint condition, or check for any potential errors that could make them more valuable. You never know, you could be holding on to a small fortune without even realizing it. Top 6 and last rare coin. We're going to dive deep into a rare and fascinating coin that has captured the attention of collectors for years, the United States quarter dollar from 1965. You might think of the quarter as just another coin in your pocket, but there's something about the 1965 quarter that makes it incredibly valuable. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be amazed at what these coins are worth today. Let's first take a look at the year 1965 and the historical context behind the coin. It was a time of great change in the United States. The nation was in the midst of the civil rights movement, and significant strides were being made toward equality and justice. At the same time, the U.S. was facing economic challenges, including rising inflation and concerns about the strength of the dollar. But in the world of coinage, 1965 marked a turning point in the country's monetary history. It was the year the U.S. made a major change to its currency. Before 1965, U.S. quarters, dimes, and half dollars were made primarily of silver, giving these coins significant intrinsic value. However, the rising costs of silver, combined with a desire to combat the growing demand for metal, led to a monumental decision. In 1965, the U.S. Mint stopped using silver in the production of quarters, replacing it with a mix of copper and nickel. This change, while practical at the time, also created a distinct line between pre-1965 and post-1965 coins, especially for collectors and investors. The 1965 quarter was one of the first to be made with this new metal composition, and that's where things get interesting. While the change in materials was significant, what makes the 1965 quarter particularly notable is not just its role in the switch from silver, but the errors and rare variations that occurred during its minting process. You see, the 1965 quarters were produced in massive numbers to meet the demand for coins during the shift. However, with the rapid pace of minting, some very rare errors slipped through the cracks, and those errors would turn out to be valuable to collectors in the years to come. One of the most sought-after variations of the 1965 quarter is the D mintmark error. A significant number of quarters minted in 1965 were supposed to bear a D mintmark, signifying that they were produced at the Denver Mint. However, some quarters were struck without the mintmark, making them much rarer and more desirable. This small mistake is one of the reasons why certain 1965 quarters can fetch sky-high prices on the market today. Another reason for the high value of the 1965 quarter lies in its condition. As with most coins, the better the condition, the more valuable it becomes. Over the years, many 1965 quarters have been in circulation, resulting in wear and tear. However, finding one that has been well preserved, without scratches, dents, or discoloration, can make all the difference. Coins that have been kept in pristine condition, often stored in protective cases or displayed in collections, are much rarer than those that have seen heavy circulation. This means that uncirculated 1965 quarters are highly sought after by collectors, and their value continues to climb. Let's not forget the importance of error coins. Beyond the mintmark mistakes, there are other types of errors that can increase the value of a 1965 quarter. These can include double strikes, misalignments, and overdates. For example, some 1965 quarters have been discovered with a faint second strike from a different year, making them even more unique and valuable. These minting errors are like hidden treasures that make certain 1965 quarters stand out among the rest. So, how much could a 1965 quarter really be worth? While most of them are worth their face value, just 25 cents, if you happen to have one of these rare variants or an uncirculated example, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Some of the rarest and most pristine 1965 quarters, especially those with minting errors or unique characteristics, have sold for as much as $79,000. Yes, you heard that right, $79,000 for a single 1965 quarter. That's right. A coin that was once worth just 25 cents could now be worth more than a luxury car or even a down payment on a house. The 1965 quarter has become one of the most coveted coins in numismatics, and if you happen to have one in your collection, it could be your ticket to a windfall. So, next time you're going through your spare change or checking old coin collections, make sure to keep an eye out for a 1965 quarter. If it's in excellent condition, or if you notice any unusual errors or mint mark variations, you might just be holding onto a rare gem that could fetch a jaw-dropping amount of money. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the United States 1965 quarter, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We've got more exciting videos lined up, exploring rare and valuable coins, so stay tuned. And who knows, your next coin discovery might be worth more than you ever imagined. Happy hunting!